Few years back, we did a tier list with all spells from Heroes of Might and Magic 2, and a lot of you commented that maybe we should do it by level. It would make more sense to do a tier list for all first level spells, second level, and so on, all the way up to fifth level. So here it is, the Khelben's Coin tier list for Heroes of Might and Magic 2 first level spells. We're going to start right away with Shield. Now, Shield is a spell that halves all the incoming damage from ranged attacks to your creatures. It's very situational. You're not ever going to cast it if you're not fighting anything with ranged units. And while I find it really helpful to cast when I'm afraid of a ranged unit, I got to say that among all the other first level spells, I'm going to put it at D tier for right now. That might change in the future. We'll move on. Maybe we'll rearrange in the future. We'll see. We're going to go with Bloodlust now. Now, Bloodlust increases the attack skill of one of your creatures. I don't find that to be very useful. What is way more useful is Bless, which we'll get to in a moment. So I actually think that this doesn't actually have as much impact as one might think. It is a spell to cast if you don't have anything else and you want to deal a little bit more damage in a fight, but that's F tier, bro. Something has to be F tier. So I'm going to put Bloodlust there for now. Maybe we'll give it a break later in the future, but for now, let's talk about Haste. Haste increases the speed of a creature by 2, I believe. That's super useful. Now, a Necromancer starts with haste, which makes Necromancers really attractive because they have skeletons which only have average speed. It takes them usually 2 turns to get across the screen at something like a ranged unit who is usually stationary during a fight. And this will cut that down by a whole turn. It also increases their turn in the turn order. This isn't a great spell to cast at the outset of a fight. It's also a great spell to cast on something that is slowed. So we're going to put this in S tier. Among first level spells, I don't think there's much better than haste. Now, view resources. View resources will show you on the map where loose resources are on the ground all over the map. Where the ore is, the gold, gems, crystals, all resources. And we'll also talk about at the same time view mines, which will show you all the mines and sawmills on the map. Now, they're both similarly useful to me. I think one is actually slightly better than the other, and I will tell you why. Mines are really good for long-term resource collection. It's a much long-term thing. If you're trying to rush a map, like a lot of people like to do, just recruit a lot of heroes, trade creatures, troops, build a small army, have small fights, win by turn 5 or 6 or something like that, then one is going to be a lot more valuable than the other. You're going to want to know where those loose resources are. So I'm actually going to put view resources in C tier and view mines in D. And that's the reasoning why. Because view resources, you're going to get more resources more quickly. You'll be able to spend a lot more, build the dwellings you need to build to get those vampire lords or those bone dragons or those whatever it is that you're using to rush a map, those war trolls or something like that. So one is slightly better than the other, and that's where I'm putting it. The same is true for Bless and for Curse, and also for Dispel Magic and for Cure. Let's talk about Dispel Magic and Cure right now. So Dispel Magic and Cure both remove magical effects on a creature you control. Now, Dispel Magic also works on creatures enemies control. So if an enemy hero casts Haste or Bless on one of their creatures, you can cast Dispel Magic on that creature to remove that effect. Dispel Magic removes all magical effects on a creature. Whereas Cure is something you only cast on your own creatures, but it removes only negative spells. So for instance, if you cast Haste on a creature and the enemy casts Curse on them, and you cast Cure then next turn on that creature, it'll only remove the Curse and not the Haste. It also restores lost hit points, depending on your level. I believe it's 5 hit points per spell power to that creature stack, at least the top creature in that stack. Cure, it only costs 1 more spell point. It's 6, whereas Dispel Magic is 5. I'm always excited when I see Dispel Magic because I love casting it at 5 spell points, but one is better than the other. Cure is going to go in B tier for me, and Dispel Magic will go in C. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Magic Arrow. Magic Arrow costs 3 spell points. It's the only first level spell that deals damage to an opponent's creatures. It is not elemental, which is really important. Elemental spells being Fireball, Fire Blast, Cold Ray, Cold Ring, Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning. Those are all elemental spells. A lot of creatures are either immune or resistant to elemental spells, like golems. Dragons are immune to everything. Elementals are immune or vulnerable to certain elements, depending on who they are. But a magic arrow is constant. It will always deal that almost kind of like, this is a Dungeons and Dragons term, but that force damage that nothing is resistant to. Nothing is resistant to a magic arrow besides a dwarf and anything that's immune to magic, like a dragon. It's not a spell that scales very well. I think it only deals 10 damage per spell power. So you need like 20 plus spell power to really have it deal a ton of damage. But if you're casting it in the late game, you're really only doing it to save spell points, and instead of casting something like a lightning bolt, which is more than twice the spell points at 7. I'm going to put it in B tier. I almost want to put it in A tier. I'm going to put it in B because it doesn't scale too well, but it is an excellent first level early game spell. I'm going to talk a little bit about Bless and about Curse, which do opposite things. So if you cast Bless on one of your creatures, they now deal the maximum amount of damage they possibly can deal. So every creature has a damage range. Every unit in that stack is now going to deal the max, the upper end of that range. The cast Curse is the inverse. Every unit in that stack, in a enemy creature stack, is going to deal the lowest number of that range. It doesn't really affect attack and defense skills, or attack skills specifically, but it does lower the range. They're very similar, but I almost rarely ever cast Curse. I don't know why. They're just better first level spells or second level spells, I guess, for me to cast instead of Curse. However, I do love Bless. Each of these spells also have their own artifact in the game. One that lets you cast each one for only one spell point, which is really helpful. And it's nice that these two spells have artifacts that coincide with those. Now, there's also Mass Curse and Mass Bless. We'll get to that in a future episode, but Bless for me is a really good first level spell. It really makes sure that you're getting the most out of your early armies, and it's a spell that scales. You can cast Bless on your stack of Titans in the mid to late game, and now they're dealing oodles and oodles of damage. Their damage range is 20 to 30, I believe. So now you got a stack of Titans all dealing that 30 damage. That's pretty good. That scales really well. Curse doesn't scale as well, I don't think. You cast it on a stack of enemy Titans, and their range is still 20 to 30. Each one dealing 20 damage is still kind of scary. So for that reason, I kind of want to put it at like A minus, B plus, but we're going to stick it at B for now. Maybe we'll go back and talk about that. Now, Stone Skin. Stone Skin increases the defense skill of one of your creature stacks. Similar to Bloodlust, which does the attack skill, Stone Skin does the defense skill. And I almost never cast unless I have something else to cast. Wizards start with this spell. So you might have seen me in our Standard Games playlist cast it a lot because I like to play the Wizard. That's only because I don't have anything else to cast. 3 spell points for it, same as Bloodlust. It gets pretty much overshadowed by Steel Skin later in the game, which is just an inherently better spell. There's twice as much spell points, but it's twice as good. So we're putting that in F tier along with Bloodlust. Something has to be an F, so we're going to do that. Now in the inverse, we're going to talk about Slow. Slow is an excellent spell. It's one of the best in the game, I think. Not only does it reduce the speed of creatures against your army, but it also reduces them in the turn order so you can go before them. And it also keeps flyers from flying across the entire battle map. That's the most important thing that Slow can do. That's why I believe Mass Slow is the best combat spell in the game. There's no better way to control the battlefield than slowing down enemy creatures and getting your turns before them. And for that, along with Haste, which does the inverse, it's an S tier spell. Let's take a look. Let's just review what we've talked about so far. We got Haste, we got Slow at the top. Bless, I think, is a great spell, but it's definitely not S tier. It's not. I'm not going to cast Haste. I'm not going to cast Bless before I cast Slow on an opponent's fly or something like that. Cure, Magic Arrow, and Curse in B tier. Curse in B tier kind of feels weird to me, but we're going to leave it there. just for the sake of breaking up the symmetry, because we have two spells in each tier. Like I said, view artifacts maybe slightly better than view minds. I almost never cast that spell, but I do see its importance, especially if you're speedrunning. Spell magic in C tier is good. It's a great spell to cast. If you want to take it off your blessed blinded creature, it's going to remove the bless as well as the blind, which is not great. It almost kind of feels like the bless you cast was like a waste of a spell. Cure would be the better one to cast if you wanted to keep things even there. View Minds and Shield, D tier, I'm fine with that. And Bloodlust and Stones get an F. Something's got to be an F. So there you go. There you have it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Where would you have ranked things? Do you not like the Bless and Curse not being in the same tier? If not, bite me. It's my tier list. This is all my opinion. But I do appreciate the comment if you want to give your own opinion. I will do my best to engage with each and every one of you. And I like listening to your thoughts because it helps me be better at the game. It changes my perspective of certain things. And first level spells. We'll see how it goes for you. Thank you all for watching Khelben's Coin. My name is Ross. This has been Heroes of Might and Magic 2 first level spells tier list. See you in level 2.